What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Cryptic back for the first video in a while. Now, before I start this video, I like to say I'm gonna go back to wrestling content. So, the reason why I've been uploading is I just don't know what I've wanted to upload. I mean, I started out my channel on like Supercard and just WWE and wrestling content, but I kind of like steered away for a little bit and like went to Fortnite and stuff like that. Since I don't play Fortnite much anymore, I'm gonna get a new game picture. I'm basically gonna revamp the channel and go back to wrestling. In the first video, what a way to start off my wrestling channel, as I am a gaming channel. And that is by talking about WWE 2K22. Now, as you guys know, on WrestleMania Night 1 and 2, they re-showed it, but mainly Night 1, 2K, and their special announcement that they, tweeted about, was officially announcing, thankfully, that we are getting a WWE game this year. We kind of knew that, but, just making it official, just showing us a little gameplay. We got to see Rey Mysterio and Cesaro and 619, and that prompted me. That kind of encouraged me. I also saw one of my former friends upload a video saying stuff that would make the universe move better and stuff like that. But I'm gonna one-up him. Because not only was that video kind of iffy, like, he even admitted in the dang video that, like, half of the stuff no one would use other than him. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to do stuff that everyone would enjoy, and I'm going to do across the entire game, not just Universe Mode. Universe Mode will be a huge topic in this video, but yeah. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. So, I'm not going to do, like, top 5, top 10, because every time I do that, I like to go off on rambles and stuff like that, and don't like to stick to a list, or, like, I do more than 10, so this is just gonna be a long, I'm literally just gonna call this features, which, in 2K22. So, I am gonna talk about the obvious ones, but I'll try to not spend too much time on them, with the obvious being GM mode. Now, the thing is, I'm very optimistic when it comes to this. Obviously, we all love GM mode. But, there are some pros, and there are some cons. Pros of GM mode is very fun, it's realistic. You'll have Raw, SmackDown, NXT up to your roster. Because GM mode is still fun, but like the roster with everything the time period was so different. In fact, it was in the game, the roster was different. But I kind of had struggled with it because I didn't know really who was good to push. But now, obviously, I know the time period now very well. I know the roster. I could just kill the CPU in GM mode. But the cons are. The thing about 2K is, even though they make their NBA games like 80 gigabytes for a thing, they always think they have to condense their WWE games to inside of 50 gigabytes. You don't have to do that, 2K. You can make it 80 gigabytes as long as you get a good game to fit more content. And the reason why I bring that up is because if there is a GM mode, more than likely there won't be Universe mode. Because what would be the point of having both? I would love to have both, but there would just be no need to. That's another con. And not the Universe mode is good and anything, but it's definitely better for drafts for this reason. Because GM mode, you can't just go and book and push whoever you want. Say you have Damian Priest. You look at Damian Priest, his overall, he's a good overall, stuff like that, but his popularity is 42. You can't push him, because your show's going to be rated terrible. Now, maybe they won't keep that system, because they did say that if they do bring it back, they're going to implement it in their own way. Because that system was realistic, but it wasn't that good. Like, you literally had to spend weeks building superstar up just to be able to use them. Because, that system, even using unpopular superstars in the match would automatically... That match can be the best match you ever put on. It will be, 3 stars. Because you'll have 2 people with low popularity. And I don't like that. Wow, in Universe mode, you can push whoever you want. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about money, because as much as it also makes it realistic, and the whole thing of having to worry about money and constantly resigning superstars is so hard to do in a draft. And knowing 2K, they're also not going to make it online multiplayer anyway. It's only going to be local multiplayer or single player against the CPU. So that wouldn't really be possible to do an online draft anyway. But it would be, even then, it would still be great. I think GM mode, is an obvious good feature. It comes with pros, it comes with cons, but obviously I would be ecstatic if they did decide to add it. Also, just to acknowledge that a little bit, the screenshot you're seeing on your screen, you're going to be seeing 2 or 3 screenshots from the reveal. I'll talk about them in a separate video, but yeah. So GM mode is one, because But if they did just decide to keep universe mode and overhaul it, I would, you know, be ecstatic because we need me. This also goes into the next feature I want. Obviously, create a story. If GM mode's number one, create a story is a close number two for most Quest features, and I'm optimistic about this too because not only is the creation suite thing, and they always try to add creation suite things, but this is the most optimistic I've ever been for a WWE game for the simple reason, for one, it can't be worse than 2K20. There's that. I don't think there's a game that can be worse than that game. There just isn't. And you know 2K is going to try hard because you know they're going to try hard to make this game good. Because if they make this game bad, WWE is going to end the partnership with them. But here's the thing. The reason why we need to create a story is because here's the thing. So me and my friend, you should know him. Well, you might not know him, but I think we've tried doing a draft on YouTube before, but it didn't work out. But Beats Life, me and him, so every year we do three major things in WWE game. We do a draft, which we're thinking about continuing the one we had in 2K19. There might be a few issues with that we might, also have to try to steer. Maybe not, because it would be great because we already had plans like that. But I've realized 3 years between WWE games because with AEW and stuff like that, so many people who we were pushing either got released. Though both of the world title scenes are going to be impacted directly because one of my people was Rusev, I was building up to my next challenger for a Jungle Gargan's world title. Is in AEW now and won't be in the game, and he's going to have someone who we spent months building up, which was Luke Harper, lose the title because the thing about us is, we used to use people like that all the time, but we just don't really like using dead people. It's just kind of we used to use Eddie Guerrero all the time, but as we've grown up, we realized not to do that. So he's gonna have Luke Harper lose the title at the next pay-per-view after we spent months building him up like a monster. So I'm probably gonna suggest at some point that we either continue on one we're doing now or just start a new one. But yeah, so draft is one thing. We do an online universe mode, which our online universe modes are always absolutely fantastic. They just, oh, sorry about that, the heck. They always have been. That started basically when we met in 2K16 360, where we did WWE. We didn't really stay consistent though, and stay on a story, stick on the same universe. We didn't do one in 17, but then 18 is where we started, sticking with the same universe. We just moved companies every game. So in 2K18, it was the WCW, which was iconic for us. That was fantastic. 2K19, the early 2K19, we did ECW. And then when 2K20 came out, he didn't get the game. It was terrible. I don't blame him. So we stayed with 2K19 because we were gonna do AEW in 2K20, but since that it was so bad, even if you would have got the game, doing an online year mode is impossible in 2K20. They disabled entrances online, which we'll definitely get to. We're gonna talk about how to improve the online since we're gonna need online to be good. It's split screen every match, so it would have been impossible anyway, but yeah, so we in late 2019 we did the AEW, which was actually since it was so long until 2K22 is coming out, it was the first online years, but we did multiple years of before moving. The rest of them we just did 1 year, moved on to the next company. AEW, we're on the third year now, which will be the final year because maybe we might have to scrap that and just move on. Because something really bad happened with my 2K19 where a lot of my guys got corrupted because there's a logo limit, which is retarded, but yeah. So, the next feature, which I'm optimistic about, is create a story. Because the reason why I'm optimistic about this is, that one dude who works 2K went on and has been listening to fans, making a list of what they want the most. So I am, why would he just do that for no reason? I think we have something to be excited about, because he wouldn't just do that for no reason, but there's how many creative stories, because the third thing we do. So I thought I heard something. The third thing we do every year is the career mode, and in 2K18 was the last game where they had the format of career mode that we had since 15. 2K19 moved to more of a Road to WrestleMania story style career mode. Now, as much as I like that, I love it. It was great. There are a few people who complain about it, which I don't get, the great YouTuber, but he always complains about that. He says, everyone has the same experience. Yeah, but it's still better than whatever crap we had before. Now, is it still my favorite thing? No, and the reason why is because the story is just like we've been wanting to do a career mode. You know that we've with every career mode has been like the origin tale of one of our fictional characters that we build up and make and that we put into on the episodes. Like we have a lot of them. In 2K19, we did Cryptic, which is me, my character, my story. So then we were like, you know what, 2K20, we're gonna do Beach Life. Well, we all know how 2K20 went. He didn't get it. Plus, with the fact that the story was horrible for Beach Life, it wouldn't have made any sense. The character was a complete idiot, the male character, and that's just not Beach Life. So we had to scrap that. And then originally we were gonna do Aaron Youngblood, but we also realized Aaron Youngblood's not in it either, so I just went with randoms. And then but with Gray's story, which is actually so we can make our own origin story for Beach Life instead of having to deal with 2Ks. Which I'll also talk about career mode because I have like a great concept for career mode. But yeah, and then there's actually multiple origin stories on John. We want to do Beach Lives, and we were going to do this online, but I just remember we could probably make it even better too if we had the creative story feature. The origin of the Beach Club, which is Beach Life's faction, that was a thing during the early days before Cryptic turned heel on WCW. That's another thing we want to do. We were going to do it online, but if we have creative story, we're doing it on there. So yeah. So creative story is a feature. We can do so many things with it. Next feature, I want to talk about something. So that was like the major features. This next one is something that isn't as important, but could still be great. So I'm gonna tell you a little tale. So you know how there's always back when THQ made WWE games, they said they had fun with it. You wanna know why? Because they were also WWE fans. And one of the reasons why they had fun with this Road WrestleMania, because they got to create their own storyline. Road WrestleMania, obviously, if you don't know, which you should, is 5 superstars, usually per game, 4 sometimes, where you play through their story, like their road to, WrestleMania, its name entails. And it's original, it isn't freaking, like, stuff that happened in real life. Like, it was real, like, original storylines, completely original, you know, custom storylines, and it was so fun. And then they removed it, and well, I mean, as much as we like to love THQ and crap on 2K, THQ was the one who kind of started the whole 2K showcase thing, because they had like a little Attitude Era mode, and then 30 Years WrestleMania and 2K14, and then that paved the way for 2K showcase. And that's not very good. That's just lazy. Because 2K would have much more fun and enjoy making the game if they created their own storylines with the Road WrestleMania mode than doing a 2K showcase, which is boring, lazy, and stuff that we could just reel on WWE Network. Now, there has been good showcases, don't get me wrong. 2K15 and 16s were fantastic, but every showcase after that, especially after the years where they took it out of the game for like 2 games, I think 17 and 2K18, it was terrible. Now, Daniel Bryan's was playable, it was decent, but it was too short, it skipped too much, and the ejectors just started getting lazy. It was just damage your opponent, or specific ejectors that were hard because you can't place tables wherever you want, which I'll get to that. And then 2K20 just wasn't very good. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. But what you can do now, I know people are gonna be like, "Isn't the career mode basically Road WrestleMania?" And it is, but I don't think it should be like that. That's why I agree with the Great One in a sense. I think they should make the career mode an actual career mode thing, and this is my concept. And if you would actually not be stubborn about how big your game is, like I don't care how big it is as long as it's good, you can put both of these modes. Like heck, obviously the only one that I agree with that they wouldn't was GMO and Euro because you really don't need it. But you know how much content you would have. You have Road WrestleMania and career mode. Like they used to do this like I don't understand. They wonder why we get bored within like a couple months or weeks. It's because if they actually added this, where they have extra content, and plus the idea, which I'll talk about in another video, minor things that'll make things better. This is like the major like things. Is monthly, weekly updates where Superstar goes up and down depending on how they do. They get new attires added in and stuff like that. Yeah. But if they actually did some of this stuff, we would be playing this game all the way up until the next game. And then even then, if they're gonna, and then even then you'll still, and we will be entertained for a whole year. That's what they need to do. But with the career mode, here's my suggestion. I like the format of 2K19-20 where you start on the indie scene. But instead of it being, like that, what you make you do is where you create your character. You start on the indie scene. You sign with an indie promotion. Obviously, it will be made up ones. because 2K is not going to get the license to real ones. Now, obviously I understand it's a WWE career mode, so don't add like freaking New Japan or something, because that's other companies. That would look bad in a WWE game. Have sponsor freaking shouting out other companies. You just want just make random cool looking made up indie promotions, and what you can do is you can choose if you want to sign with NXT right away. Like, you can either go to the performance center and train and be like a performance center trainee, but if you did that, you would start out in NXT as a jobber with a very low overall, where you would have to where it would be a squash match every match. You just had to try to survive, or you could choose to start in the independent scene, build yourself up, and like raise what would be like your hype or whatever you want to call it, your like a meter. And what would happen is if you actually chose to stay on the independent scene and win titles like that, you would become, and you would get treated like a hottest free agent. Like people how easy, like you would be like instead of being like who's a random performance center guy. Instead of being like friggin' I don't know, I can't even think of any. Like, who's in the performance center? Like, some random joint in the performance center, you can get built up and make your debut, like, be huge in NXT. Like, someone like EC3's debut. And, like, you'll be in the front row of, like, a takeover, and then you'll officially sign with the company, and your debut, and you'll have a squash match, your debut, your overall will be higher. We'll start out in 80. Like, that's a good, and, it shows you doing cutscenes and signing stuff and negotiating with Triple H and the higher ups and talking to Vince. So God, they need to show that. That's a realistic career mode. And like free roam. It's stuff like that. Like, you can make a career mode very good if you did that and still have Road to WrestleMania. So I think that's a great concept, and like that. Another thing, obviously, is creative finisher. Why has creative finisher not been in the game? Because here's the thing. So Cryptic, this isn't a problem with, because with my Cryptic character, I found like two really awesome iconic finishers for him, the Kryptonator and the Operation Homicide, which is not a move that a WWE Superstar doesn't use. But I found an awesome move for Beach Life, which ended up becoming iconic, A Day at the Beach, which is just the Panama Sunrise. Adam Cole uses that. But with creative finisher, I can make it A Day at the Beach where it's still a Canadian Destroyer, still a flip out drive, make it look different, make it actually a unique thing. And stuff like that, a unique version of like a Canadian Destroyer, or like I can even make a Cryptic finisher. Like, creative finisher is so fun. You know how much you can do with creative finisher. Like, you can have a custom finisher for every superstar. So your finisher is not just something in the game that like another superstar most likely has a freaking strong grapple. Yeah, so creative finisher would be another thing. It would just be so good. And even expand creative finishers. Like, if you don't want to, you can even expand it from back in the day. Like, you can add it to create a tag team finisher as one of the modes in it, which that wasn't actually a thing back when creative finishers in the game. But do that. There's a few minor things, like highlight reel, fix that, because make that good again, and stuff like that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is, I'll get into universe mode here in a minute, is like match types, like all these ones that me and my friend actually use in drafts and stuff like that, that we want to just be in the game, because like because it would be so nice, like one of them, obviously 3 Stages of Hell. Now you can technically do that in WWE games now, but it's just not cool. There's not a cutscene in between each stage and stuff like that. Like, what you have to do is you just have to do 3 different match types, 3 of the same match with different match types. Like, in our draft at BXC, we did one for the BXC North American title between Apollo Crews and John Cena on his show, because he runs BXC, where they faced, he just did the first 2 stages as an exhibition, and then the 3rd stage in the actual universe mode pay-per-view. Mega Tour, we can actually just do that match type, because that match type is great. Also, freaking why haven't we had, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, what about First Blood matches? I literally just saw a video where they said that. You can just make First Blood match. It's not hard. They just said they don't feel like doing it. Well, yeah, that means you're just lazy. First Blood matches are already in the game. You can just make them easily, and they're the same format as they used to be. Obviously, the other obvious match types that have literally been in 2K games before in 360, obviously Inferno, Buried Alive, Casket, I Quit. I could do so much with I Quit, but by far the match type that we desperately need. Special Referee. You can do so many storylines with that. So many things in universe modes. Special Referee is just so great, man. And even in online, like, we used to use Special Referee matches in our league. So like that, it used to be great. Well, there'll be a spectator, so like that. And yeah, you can screw someone, make a storyline. It's great. Now we're going to get into universe mode. Now, if they don't add GM mode and they do decide to keep Universe mode, which is my suspicion, it just needs a complete overhaul. Because Universe mode has literally been the same since 2K17, basically. With minimal improvements. There was a huge step up in 2K19 where they added the new Money Bank system, which was fantastic. Because if you didn't know, the way you had to do it before in 2K18 was you had to not only deal with wherever the game put it on the card. If you wanted your Money Bank line match you actually wanted, you just had to change the participants. And that was also back for control assignment. So since you couldn't change who's Money Bank, you had to win the match as the person you wanted. And especially because the AI was OP back then, Money in the Bank matches often went wrong. But nowadays, there's control assignment, you can set a Money in the Bank. They took a step up and then just didn't improve off of that. The 2K20 was just the same. The same dumb rivalry system, which it definitely improved the rivalry system. The rivalry system is terrible. Freaking, they just face each other every week. It's getting to the point where the cutscenes are so dumb and random. Me and my friend have to turn off automatic rivalry so cutscenes don't happen now. That's sad. Another thing, an injury system. Now, this is one of the good ideas that my former friend had, was instead of, because the injury system is terrible, you just have to damage the same body part in a match 3 weeks in a row. You have to just face the same opponent 3 weeks in a row, no injury, and then nothing major happens. You just can't put superstar in matches and they come back a month later like nothing happened. Whenever you could easily make it to where you don't even have to get damaged, you can just get randomly injured. And that could turn into a rivalry storyline where then they'll return later. There could be a return cutscene, an injury cutscene. They can easily do that. Also, a draft system. As much as we all remember the draft system back in the day, it was terrible. Now, obviously, we enjoyed it for what it was. It's not in game now, but it was literally just it was a match. The freaking animation pop up on the screen. It was just a random superstar who was drafted, just did their entrance, and it was over. What you can do is, what they should add is, in the year, you could select where, the draft event will take place. Where, there will be a match after every match, if you set general managers, they'll do the draft, or you can make it to where it's just like it is in real life, where Stephanie just names a bunch of picks, whichever one you want, to where that happens. Another thing is promos. Add different promo types. 2K, there is more promos that happen in real life than special promotion, or self-promotion, call out, turn heel, turn face, and tag team breakup. And form tag team. We need general manager promos where two people will be in the ring fighting, and the general manager, whoever you set as general manager, will come out and make a match. It needs to be triple threat, fatal 4-way, tag team, fatal 5-way, 6-man, freaking, 8-man promos. The promo where the champions in the ring, and then everyone comes out wanting a title opportunity. Add that. Yeah. You could easily, because me and my friend are tired of pretending. Me and BSF are tired of pretending that they come out. We want them to actually do it. So there are different promo options, just stuff like that. Little improvements that can make Universe Mode better. And just awesome. And then the final thing I'll talk about is just, DLC. We want the Future Stars packs back, so like that. Free DLC, what Beach Life would say, which I think is good. But if you don't make it free, at least don't make it the original, because I don't think anyone likes the originals. Because you were not going to use those characters for anything other than the showcase. The only one you used was the Fiend, and even at that, you only did them for the moves. The originals showcase for the awesome moves. Make sure there's DLC packs, and improve the roster. How good drafts can be if you have the entire roster, not just for, because what would happen is every year there will only be 5 to 10 of the top NXT guys added. Instead of doing that, since obviously in 2K20 was before they officially treated NXT like a third brand, but since NXT is a third brand now, what you can do, that since it's actually treated like their brand, have it add its entire roster in the game too, so we can have the entire Raw, the entire SmackDown, NXT, even 205 Live, and then we'll have a couple NXT UK guys, because no one really watched NXT UK, so we don't care about the entire roster, but I want Walter in the game, people like that. The final thing I'm going to talk about is the pre-order bonus. Now, this could really be anyone. Oh yeah, legends as well, like RVD and stuff like that, but the pre-order bonus could really be anyone, but they need someone strong. They need someone who will be a big treat to us that we never thought would be in a WWE game, that would pay us back for 2K20's disaster. And I think one of the people is CM Punk. Because here's the thing. CM Punk said on Twitter before that he wants to be in a WWE game. He's down. But WWE will never let it happen. But here's the thing. He's worked for a WWE. He's been on a WWE show before. When he was on backstage. Now, we don't know what terms he's with the company, but it's just a game. If WWE wants the game to be good, wants people to buy their game more, then someone like CM Punk could be huge. and pre-order bonus, and he will be so fun to play as, and he will just be great. But yeah, that's just some of the features I want. A great career mode concept. Take 2K Showcase out, and freaking please do not focus on the graphics. If you do end up going to this game is on Xbox Series X and PS5, don't put our time into the graphics. We don't care. WWE Games Express enough. We don't care about the graphics. We care about content over graphics. Okay? So please, for the love of God, don't worry about the graphics and don't worry about how big your game is. I don't care how big it is as long as it has features. As long as it can keep us entertained for a whole year. Okay? So yeah, I think I'm going to make this a series. I'll make another video on like minor features that I want in the game. That could make the game better, like the small features. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to make a series. Anytime a piece of news comes out, I'll talk to you guys about it. And yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm excited to get 22, and I'm excited for this channel to go back to what I love the most, wrestling. But until then, if you want more wrestling videos, just make sure you like the video, man. Subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss more 2K22 news, rumors, wish lists, stuff like that. And, when it comes out and I can make content on it. But yeah, so like, subscribe. This has been Cryptic, signing off. Goodbye.